In the name of Almighty Allah, most merciful and most compassionate. I would like to grant my best wishes and regards, and as well I profoundly welcome you all in my today's lesson. I hope you are all fine, doing good, and life has been treating you. This is Assistant Professor Ahmad Tasal, Hazraty, Master of Education and teaching English to the speakers of other languages. So we are going to grant our today's lesson. I hope before to start the lesson, I want every one of you to subscribe the channel, Elite Learning Academy. Today we are going to talk about chapter number 13, starting the preliminary draft. So in this lesson, first I'm going to respond the first question in order to make your concept clear about what is preliminary draft. Beside, I would like to answer the next question, which is the steps of preliminary draft. And finally, I'm going to talk about how many parts are there in the preliminary draft. So, how to write a preliminary draft? Your preliminary draft should have the following aspects. The first, you should work not less than 2 pages. It means your preliminary draft should be in 2 pages. So in this part, we are only working on the body of the paper, not on the introduction and not on the conclusion. It means, as a researcher, you should not work on the intro or introduction part and conclusion part. In the preliminary draft, we are only focusing on the body. Keep it in mind that in the preliminary draft, you should be, as a researcher, well ordered and legible. It means you should be very neat and clear with the data that you are going to collect it, and you are going to work on the body. And your data should be readable. It means it should be clear enough for the readers to read and take the concepts. The most important thing in the body that we have to keep it in mind is the citation. In order to save ourselves from the plagiarism or from the stealing of other people's idea and use it as our own, so we have to give the credits to the author or the one who provide idea for the first time. So we have to confirm our own idea with the other ideas, or we have to differentiate the ideas of our own with the ideas of other scholars. The very important thing that we have to, as a researcher, we have to attach the bibliography in outline. It means the reference list in the outline, that ideas that we are going to report, it should be attached with the preliminary draft. So now, I'm going to talk about the steps for drafting. Whenever we are working on the body, so there are a few steps that we have to take in account. The first step or the first process that we are going to take in account in the preliminary draft is select the part of the paper that you want to work on. So we should only choose one part and we have to work on that. When we complete, then we have to move for the next part. So if we work on the many parts, it causes our mind and we would be confused. To avoid ourselves from the confusion, so we have to select or choose only one specific part and we have to work on that. Step number 2, carefully read your notes relevant to the section. Read more than once to have good understanding of ideas and points that will make. So it means we have to work, for example, we choose one specific part and then we have to search for the ideas which is about the specific part. So we have to read it for more than one time, for more than 2 or 3 times in order to make our understanding clear, to make our concept clear about the ideas, and we have to connect it with the part that we are going to work on. Step number 3, we have to write the relevant set of ideas. Don't worry about coherence, control, etc. So we should not think about correctness. We should only think about the validity and reliability, but we should not work on the correctness, because we have another chance to work on this paper and to bring adjustment. So we have to search only for the relevant ideas about the specific part that we choose to work on. And step number 4, if as a researcher we run off the topic, read your notes again for the better understanding of point and ideas. So if we are run out of the topic, it means if we are choosing one part and we are working in another part because the mind is confused and move to the next part. So for this to come back to the point, we have to read our notes again, we have to read the ideas again, and we have to come ourselves into the points. Step number 5, if again you are off the topic, then for example we choose a specific part and for the first time we run off the topic, it means our problem is one thing. In a problem we choose one part, but the idea that we are going to work on is move to the next part. So first of all we reread the notes and come to the point. If again we are off the topic, then we have to work on the other parts of the paper. For example, we have to leave this part and we have to find we have to work on the other part of the problem. For this, reread what you have written so far. Again, we have to start reading it. If something is irrelevant, if something is not directly support the main point, then we have to omit it and we have to move it to the next part. So in this process, we have to many times reread our own notes in order to be in the point. So finally, if for the next time we run off the topic, so then what we have to do, we have to take a break. That means we are under pressure or there are loads of work and we couldn't afford it, then we need a break in order to make our mind fresh, and we have to leave it for a while and then come back and work on the part. Step number 6, if you reread, you need to, for example, if for the second time or third time we are going to read our notes, so what we have to do, what we need to do, so the first, we can change the order of ideas. For example, some idea which is very important, we can bring it at the start. Some ideas which is less important, we can bring it at the end. We can make the order of the ideas. For example, we are starting from the most important point and then we are moving to the less important point, or we are starting from the most important and smoothly we move to the less important, most important. So when we read for the next time, we can bring some changes. It means we can omit some of ideas or we can add some of the new ideas based on our taking notes on and we're working on the drafting part of the paper. So finally, in short, when you work on the body and you reread your notes or your ideas, so you can cross out or you can add or you can change any of the words, phrases, clauses or sentences. And step number 7, you can do many or only one drafting in this stage. That's a dependent question. Some of the people are very clever and they can do only one draft, for some of the people are doing 2, 3 and more draft. But we have next chance in order to bring some correctness and be controlled. So this is the first step. Before I mention to you, we have next opportunity or chances to be controlled and work on the forms. It means this is the first draft. There will be lots of problems. Don't worry about that. There might be grammar problems, there might be some spelling problems, and there might be punctuation problems. But keep in mind that this is the first draft and we have next draft to work on this and bring the changes. Thank you very much for your keen attention, and if you have any question, please post your question and you will receive your responses. Thank you very much for watching.